Okay, guys, so let's have a look at the Forex market infrastructure. Let's have a look at why money is exchanged all around the world, how the money is sent around the world, and this is going to give you a good understanding of how the banking system plays a crucial role in the exchanging of currencies. So, guys, why is money exchanged in the Forex market? Well, commercial trading in the Forex market is exchanging currencies for the purpose of conducting business or personal transactions. So individuals like you and I, or a business, they are the two participants that carry out currency transfers for the following purposes. So if I'm buying goods from another country, or if I'm paying for a service from another country, for an example, or if I'm buying a financial asset. So for an example, let's say I'm buying stocks in another country, or if I want to send money to another country, there obviously has to be one country's currency sold in exchange to conduct these two purposes of exchanging currencies. So let's have a look at, for an example, why money could be sent abroad to pay for something that's being sold in another country. So let's say we have a printer being sold in the United States. The person in the United States is going to be selling this printer in their own local currency, which would be US dollars. So they'll be quoting this printer as priced at $49.99. Now, if I'm living in the United Kingdom, I have pounds in my bank account. Okay, that's the currency of my country. So for me to buy this printer, I have to then send my pounds to the person, but they have to obviously be exchanged into US dollars because that's the currency that's quoting this printer to be sold in. So money has to be sold from the UK and exchanged into US dollars and then sent to the United States. So that's why we have the exchanging of currencies. If you're buying goods, for an example, let's say you're transferring money abroad to somebody. Let's say you have a family member in the United States, again, for an example, and you want to send them £100. Well, of course, there's going to be an exchange rate value. So let's say earlier we looked at the pound against the dollar was one pound bought $1.51. So for an example, if you're sending £100 to the United States, then you will have to exchange £100 into US dollars, which is going to buy you $151 in exchange. So when you're buying goods, when you're buying services, remember the country as selling the goods or selling a service to anybody in the rest of the world, then they'll be quoting that goods or service in their own currency. And if someone from abroad wants to purchase that goods or that service or send money to another country, they're obviously going to have to exchange their domestic currency in exchange to the currency that they're sending money to in order to buy a goods or service or just send money to someone abroad. So there are two reasons. Is for business transactions, as we just looked at, or personal transactions, or if we're just making a payment to another country, for an example, or if we're just sending money abroad. So when it's businesses, they're obviously going to send money to buy a goods or buy a service, or a business may send money to another country to pay their staff in another country. So let's say you have a company from the UK, but they have offices all around the world or shops all around the world. Let's say they have some shops in Europe. Then the business in the UK is going to have to sometimes send money to Europe to pay their employees. So for an example, they may have to sell British pounds in exchange to buy euros in order to pay staff abroad. So that's the fundamentals behind why businesses are going to be exchanging currencies to facilitate their business purposes. Okay, guys, so now we understand how money is sent abroad to facilitate people buying goods or services from abroad or sending money abroad, or how businesses send money abroad to pay for goods or services or to pay staff in another country. But how is the actual money sent to another country and is done through the banking system, okay? So we have banks in Europe, we have banks in America, we have banks in Asia, we have banks in Africa. Now, these banks are the intermediates that allow money to be transferred around the world. Now, the Forex market, which stays open 24 hours a day for 6 days a week, from Sunday 10 p.m. until Friday 9 p.m. GMT UK time, and there are banks in Europe, there are banks in America, and there are banks in Asia that trade the exchanging of money all around the world, which allow the market to be open 24/7. So, for an example, we have 4 major trading sessions. You have the Sydney session, which is the banks in Sydney in Australia, keeping the Asian markets open throughout the day. And then once these banks close for the trading day, then it moves over to, for an example, the London session. So Europe's trading session starts, and the European banks keep the Forex market open 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. And then once the London session closes, the American banks open, and we call this the New York session. So basically, there's always banks at one point of the day keeping the Forex market open so money can be exchanged all around the world. So as we can clearly see, we have the London session starts at 7 a.m. and ends at 3 p.m. And then the New York session starts at 12 p.m. during the London session and then ends at 8 p.m. And then at 9 p.m. we have the Sydney session that starts until 5 a.m. And then during that Sydney session, you have the Tokyo session in Asia also start and keep the market open from 11 p.m. as well. So they basically, during that 6 days a week, there's always banks around the world keeping the market open so people can send money from one country to another country to conduct, as I was saying, business or personal transactions in the marketplace. So if you look at the summertime sessions, which is April to October, it's 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. the London session. The New York session starts at 12 till 9 p.m. The Sydney session starts at 10 till 5 a.m. And the Tokyo session starts at 11 a.m. till 7 a.m. Sorry, this should be p.m. Sorry for the typo stage right here. Then in the winter times, the times actually change. We have the London session that starts at 8 a.m. to an hour later and then finishes at 5 p.m. New York session starts at 1 p.m. until 10 p.m. The Sydney session starts at 11 p.m. till 6 a.m. And then the Tokyo session starts at 12 a.m. until 8 a.m. So I can clearly see here, guys, the market is open 24 hours a day and there's always a bank open, allowing money to be sent. And this allows the market to be open to transact business and personal transactions.